And with that being said, I don't have any children. I went to my mama. Mama, I fucked up, ma. I fucked up. And she was like, girl, don't worry about it. We about to get this taken care of. Like I told you, I might not have knew my mother like that, but that bitch was always there to take care of business.
I don't hear nobody out there. Hold it down. Hold it down.
Finna start a new book, okay? Those of you who are paying members already know what the next book is. The rest of y'all, I told you was going to have to wait till it got to the YouTube, and it is now to the YouTube. Also, for you paying members, however you pay your fees, whether it's through the YouTube or the Patreon, you all will be able to see Sunday, the premiere, parts 1 and 2. All the rest of you, like I said, y'all gonna have to wait till it hit the YouTube. Additionally, don't forget that I am going back home to Washington, D.C. soon, a chocolate city. And it is very important that you tip your favorite narrator at $NAROB on YouTube. It is so very appreciated. Now, with all that being said, honey, let's begin reading Earl, the autobiography of DMX. For those of you who are new over here, if you hear some snoring, it is Lulu. That's the book club mascot. We own a Frenchie over here. He a blue merle. Frenchie, standard. He don't have one of them smushy noses like how the other Frenchies do. But anyway, we got a Frenchie over here, and child, he just be randomly snoring. I don't know what to do. Just get used to it. I should have realized then that my mother was going to be on some bullshit. See, if I was the man of the house, I sure had a lot of company. And whenever my mother's boyfriend would come over, I always had to go to the store in the morning for bread, eggs, and cornflakes. It was always bread, eggs, and cornflakes. The guys would have rarely been there for more than the night, but I guess they needed their breakfast. Of course, I never got what I wanted to eat. I want the cereal with the sugar in it already because we don't have sugar upstairs. But my mother didn't hear me, and the guys didn't give a F. They got their pastanka already. That's telling me how he's going to be as a man when he gets older. This is really a good book. It's outstanding. Outside of the fact that I believe that he should have grown more, I feel like he's writing the book as a man, but with the perspective of a child. Meaning that when he's speaking of certain circumstances involving his mother, he should have been able to rationalize that in a way that as a parent himself could understand. Like he knows the sacrifices that he had to make for his family. He knows this. So why don't you understand the sacrifices that your mother made for her family? This book is definitely coming from a hurt man. Looking back, I don't think my mother was too prepared to have kids. After me, she had 2 other sons, but they both died at birth. I was the only boy that she had, and I've always thought how unlucky I was because, man, I did catch it. My mother beat me for every man that did her wrong, for every man that effed her and left her. And I know she beat me because I reminded her of my father. You ain't shiz. You're just like your father, she would say to me over and over again. See, my mother and father were never close. That's why she didn't give me his last name. They met at Yonkers High School a year or two before I was born. And by the time I happened, whatever relationship they had been dead for a while. My father was a pretty cool cat in high school. He always had a lot of girlfriends. He was the kind of guy who got attention by doing something corny, like wearing a suit to school. And he was a good artist. Well, maybe that's part of the reason why your name is Earl. Because you think the name Earl is corny, and you saying your father was corny, so okay. That's probably why him and my mother got together. He was the man and she was a dime. But despite what must have looked like a winning combination to anyone in the neighborhood, they never clicked beyond just having sex. I'm glad that he's honest with himself about that. He was only 18 himself at the time, and he didn't want my mother to have me. After I was born, he never thought about living in the house with us. He never called me on my birthday or helped raise me at all. Pause. I want to know down in the comments what you all feel, because your opinion matters too. I want to know, do you think that the father should be expected to take care of the child after the father has made it clear that he doesn't want the child? We know that he is responsible for the child. I just want you to tell me whether you think that the father should be responsible. It's both of you all's responsibility. Just like you both got together to lay down in the throes of passion, I think you both should have the choice as to whether or not we should have this baby. Because if one party is saying no, then it should be no. Because I'm telling you, I got tripped up one time, where I had this drug dealer dude. Child, he got me, girl. But I wasn't ready to be nobody's mother. So when I say no, it was no. You see what I'm saying? It was no. Y'all know I ain't got no kids, but I wasn't about to have no drug dealer baby. That wasn't going to happen. I was in school. I think I was in my sophomore year in college. And I knew I wasn't the person to have a child, so it was no. But with him, it was yes. I mean, y'all hold, pause. Let me tell you, okay? I'm going to try and keep this as clean as possible. Drug dealer dude I was messing with, he was real good to me. He got locked up, okay? When he came home, he like, baby, I'm home. Come see me. All right, nigga. Okay. So I went to see him, and I explained to him, I don't want to do unprotected sex. I don't want to do that because I don't want to get pregnant. And he was like, man, he made it very clear to me before that he was like, look, I got 2 girls. I want you to give me the boy. First of all, nigga, how you know I'm going to be capable of giving you the boy? All right? But I don't know. Maybe he talked to his sperm or something and was like, okay, make this one a boy. I came to his house. I was like, what's that? And we ended up doing the hoop-de-coo, all right? And the ninja turned me around. When he turned me around, he pulled the thing off. Child, I was pregnant. He got me. Fucking bitch. I need to talk to him again. When I realized that I was, I called him. I was like, look, I'm not trying to do this. Not at all. I don't want to do this. And he was like, I'm not about to give you no money. That's not going to happen. I've been told you that you was getting ready to be my next baby mother. Curses. And with that being said, I don't have any children. I went to my mama. I fucked up, Ma. I fucked up. And she was like, girl, don't worry about it. We about to get this taken care of. Like I told you, I might not have knew my mother like that, but that bitch was always there to take care of business. So when I said no, it was no. But when these men say to these women, no, it doesn't matter. It's like his no doesn't matter. Our no is no. No, motherfucker. No. No. You see what I'm saying? So with that being said, is it fair that when a man makes it clear that he does not want to have the child, that the woman goes on and have the child anyway. He never called me on my birthday or helped raise me at all. That made it hard on my mother, and she must have taken her frustrations out on me because no matter what I did, I was always wrong. First of all, Lord Earl, you know how many black children waited in fear when they knew it was time for their mammy to come home, because their mammy was going to take all the frustrations of the world out on them, and 9 times out of 10 it was the oldest girl. So, baby, you ain't the only one who got their ass beat because it was a fork left in the sink. So I need DMX to know and other men to know that your mama wasn't the only mama that came in the house mad with misplaced anger. Bonita was the perfect child and I was the problem. My mother took a few judo classes too, so she was good with her hands. And whenever she got tired of beating me, she would just call another nigga over to whip my ass. I know that was hurtful. And let me say, let's not forget about the fact that she's still in her early 20s and a teenager. My mom had me at 15. Just because you have the equipment to have a baby don't mean that you have the proper tools. And I look back on my early 20s all the time and I be like, ooh, I am so happy I didn't have no kids, because I wouldn't have been mentally capable of having children. Some women are. He's already stated that his mother didn't make good decisions. So, just because you got the equipment to have a baby don't mean that you got the tools to maintain it. In 1975, when I was 4 years old, my mother finally found a nice place of her own in Building 80 of the School Street apartment complex. The project would soon become one of the most dangerous and neglected areas in all of Yonkers. But for us, coming from the cramped and lonely space of the Roker, moving to School Street was a definite step up. There were 6 sets of projects on this side of Yonkers, and they were all different. School Street and slow bomb houses were your typical high-rise units. Then there were the more country-looking low-rise projects like Mulford Gardens and Cottage. The better-kept buildings of Ravine stretched a long way and didn't feel like projects because of their unobstructed view of the river. And while Warburton Avenue, where my grandmother ended up, not one specific place, the part of the block that led all the way down to South Broadway was considered its own hood. In the middle of all of that mess was Getty Square, the only downtown area Yonkers had, which until about midnight, when things got grimier, was filled with the normal hustle and bustle of any big shopping area. I've always thought there was a black cloud. Why is it that every downtown area be normal, and then at night, girl, it be all kinds of shenanigans down there, like prostitution, drug dealers, scamming, dope fiends, pickpocketing, all kinds of mess. Every downtown area is like that. I don't care what city you in. I've always thought there was a black cloud over Yonkers. A big curse that attached itself to anyone who grew up there, because somehow any ghetto I've seen anywhere in the world reminds me of a place in YO. And you ain't never lied. Anytime I travel, I always go looking for a feel for the community, a sense of the people, and I end up saying, oh, this looks just like Mulford. Or this reminds me of Ravine. And even though Yonkers is one of the biggest cities in New York State, growing up, everybody knew everybody. Pause. So that could kind of explain why he just stayed in the bullshit, because he was most comfortable in areas that is overcome by crime and despair and poverty. So how do you get away from it if every town or every city you go in, you going straight to the hood so that you could feel comfortable? There were a lot of big families with even bigger extended families, and we were all interconnected. Nothing could go down on one side of town without someone knowing about it on the other before the day was out. The apartment was my mom's first real place of her own. The first place she really cared about living in. And once we were there, she began the slow process of getting herself off public assistance to try to build a better life. Even though I had my own room in School Street, it never really felt like that because somehow I would always end up having to sleep on the floor in the living room. That was mostly because of my mother's younger brother, Robert. Don't feel bad, Earl. We always had an uncle, somebody living with us, not us, but with my Aunt Crystal. Her brothers always lived with her because my Aunt Wee Wee wasn't having it. No niggas, y'all can't bring y'all triflingness to my goddamn house. My mother, my Uncle Finey, told me it depends on what mood Renee in. If she in a good mood, yeah, she'll help you out. But if she in a bad mood, fuck you. My Aunt Crystal was always the kind to help you. Uncle Pinky, we called him, and he was a smooth brother when he was young. He was the only one in the family I remembered who ever had a car. It was a metallic blue Cadillac Coupe de Ville, and one time he took me for a ride downtown in it. But he was never a hustler. My uncle wasn't really a hustler like that. He came back from Vietnam, addicted to heroin. Ooh, he was the coolest. Tattoos of butterflies in his arms to cover up the tracks where he used to shoot dope. Man, my uncle was so motherfucking smooth. Let me tell you something. The only time he acted a nigga was when he was on that crack. Funny part was he didn't die from drugs. He died from heart disease, like my mama. But he was never a hustler. In the early 70s, hustling wasn't big money, and Pinky was more the fixing type anyway. He liked to work on cars or stoves or TVs. Anything you needed done, Pinky could do it. He was the local handyman. It was hard work, but it always kept a few dollars in his pockets, and my uncle stayed with a job. But if he always had a job, then the other thing he always had was a new baby mother. Uncle Pinky was always bringing women around my mother's house. My uncle ain't had no babies, though. Babies interfered with my getting high money. Okay, I like to shoot dope more than paying for daycare. Pay for daycare, get high. Pay for daycare, get high. I mean, he shot dope, but he had morals. Hey, Earl, I want you to meet my old lady, he'd say, before asking my mom if him and his girlfriend could stay for a few days. Child.
Hey, do my favorite go-go song. Taking a ride on the east side, made a left on MLK. What a beautiful day, what a beautiful day. Riding high on the west side, looking for a hood rat to play. Won't you come out and play, won't you come out and play. Hey, taking a ride, hey, hey, on the south side, ooh, ooh, MLK. Hey, hey, hey. We like that good. Say what?